What's going on, folks? Rick here. I'm back with another video, and I'm here to do my full review of the Oneplus 8. Now, I've had this phone for over a week now. I'm fairly confident in the things that I really like about this device and a few things that I don't like so much about this device. If in case you didn't know, this is a T-Mobile variant. It's the base 128 gigabyte version. It only comes in two colors for T-Mobile. It's the black and then that crazy glow version. I'm not sure if it's called Aura Glow or some kind of glow, but it's like that version that changes colors. I'll show you in a minute. But with that being said, I did have a jump upgrade with T-Mobile, and I needed to upgrade, to a different device. And I wanted to upgrade to something economical and 5G, and this was the best device that T-Mobile had to offer. So enough of me babbling, let's get into some specs real quick. This is 5G NR capable. It has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, Snapdragon X55 5G modem. It's 6.55 Full HD Plus AMOLED display. It has a 48 megapixel / 16 megapixel / 2 megapixel triple camera, 4300 milliamp non-removable battery, warp charging 30T, 128 gigabytes of UFS 3.0 storage, and 8 gigabytes of RAM, and then obviously it's running Oxygen OS. Now, if you guys didn't see my unboxing real quick, I'm just gonna show you guys the box. I really like the presentation that OnePlus had to offer in regards to this OnePlus 8 variant over here. So in case you haven't seen the box, let me zoom out a little bit. So this is the box for the OnePlus 8, and I believe the OnePlus 8 Pro has a similar look to it. And I really do like how OnePlus takes time and dedicates money and time into making an awesome presentation. So that's something I didn't want to show you guys right off the bat. So now that we got all the specs out the way, let's really dive into, again, the things I like and the things I don't like about this. So not to make this a full comparison of the LG V60, and it was really hard for me to think about how to word this properly, but the phone just works. I mean, it is funny that I say that. It just works seamlessly. It works flawlessly. There's no issues. There's really not much to think about. And I was having a hard time when I purchased the LG V60, because when you look at it on paper and spec wise, it's a better phone than this phone here. However, when you just think about usability, it just works. A lot of things are just simplified. There's really not a lot of like subcategories, but at the same time, there's so much ability to customize this device. And the overall consensus that I have for this OnePlus 8 base model, and this is not even the Pro model, so the Pro model must be amazing. So I'm just gonna start off by saying this base model has been excellent in my time with this. Now it has a few issues, but again, for the price that I was paying for this, I believe it's $699 out the box, 5G, 90 hertz refresh rate. Like, you're not finding that at that price point other than OnePlus right now. You do have some other Chinese manufacturers like Xiaomi and Pocophone and all that, but those manufacturers are just really not geared for the United States. So for you guys here in the States, I just have to tell you, this is the biggest bang for your buck if you want to have a 5G capable phone. All right, so let's get into some pain points and some things that I really do like. So obviously, my biggest pain point with the LG and even my Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra is the fingerprint scanner. And I've mentioned this, the fingerprint scanner on this OnePlus device is flawless. I never really have a fail. It's as close to flawless, and the animation to open up the phone just makes you feel that it's that much quicker. I have both fingerprints recorded. All right, it's not working with this fingerprint. All right, there we go, it worked. But for the most part, it's as flawless as you can get for an optical fingerprint scanner. I've actually had the OnePlus 7 Pro for quite a long time, and ever since then, their fingerprint scanners just worked. It worked well. I have very few false reads, and it just, you know, it just works well. I had a troll in my last video for the V60 say that I wasn't putting my finger on it. I was purposely trying to get false reads, and I'm really not. I'm just trying to show you guys that this phone just works well. And you know, does it suck that it's optical as opposed to the ultrasonic that the S20 has? I'll take an optical fingerprint scanner any day, because that technology at this point is on par with old school fingerprint scanners. And if it's not on par, it's just slightly behind it when you have devices like this that just open up seamlessly. You know, I have weird angles that I'm putting my finger in. It just works very well. So I definitely have to give kudos to OnePlus for their fingerprint scanners. Now, let's get into the OS here. So one thing about OnePlus, it's very similar to stock Android, and that some people love that. For me, for the most part, I always love a skinned version of Android with customization and things that you can do to just really make the phone your own. So I was never really a fan of stock Android, but for some reason, again, you know, and it's hard for me to find the words to say, it just works, you know what I mean? Things just work, things just function the way they're supposed to. There's no real subcategories and subfolders and digging through this and digging through that. The phone works, it's fast, and it just does what it's supposed to do. And you know, when I had the LG V60, it was just, there was so much of a learning curve, and there was so much to subcategories and subfolders to go into. You know, everything is just here, it's in front of your face, and it just works well. And for most people, I think people are gonna like that. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a stock Android person, but this lightly skinned version of Oxygen OS is working fairly well, and they knew where to tweak it and where not to tweak it to not offend people on either side. Because again, I'm not a stock Android guy, but for some reason with this phone, the features that I like, they work. If it doesn't have it, it's very easy for me to download it and get it. They're not making it difficult for you to use this phone. That's one of the things that I really love about this device. Now let's get into, I think, this phone's biggest pain point, and this is something that most people probably already know of, and it's gonna be camera quality. So now, this sensor in this device, I believe it's I want to say the 48 megapixel camera, the main shooter, the 48 megapixel main shooter, is just copied and pasted from the OnePlus 7T line. No changes to it. It's the same exact sensor, and that sensor wasn't an amazing sensor. So I'm not saying for most people, you're not going to be able to just take a shot and it's just going to look good. If you take a daylight shot, it's going to be fine. And I did find that the camera app worked very well. So let's try to take a shot, okay? All right, so we're taking a photo shot. This is the standard camera. And we have the wide angle. And we have the macro. Let's do these colors here. All right, so again, it's gonna be hard to tell through the camera lens, but let's see. Quality is there, you know what I mean? You could see things fairly close up. I did take some video of some squirrels in my backyard, and it did come in a bit grainy and distorted. I'm not a huge fan of these cameras, but again, I'm not gonna say these cameras completely suck. They don't suck, they're not bad, but they're not amazing either. And again, at this price point, you know, I know that's a bit of a cop-out to say at this price point, what can you expect? But with some of the manufacturers out there right now making really amazing phones at cheap prices, I really think that this device could have used a camera lens upgrade, especially with Pixel and the Pixel 3a and the 4a coming out shortly, and then also the new iPhone SE. They're really putting a lot of money into camera quality as opposed to other things of the device. And the camera quality on this phone is good, but it's not great. Now again, one of the things that I really did notice about the LG phone was, even though it had 8 gigabytes of RAM, it had that 60 hertz refresh rate, and the lag on it was there. It was consistent. I think if you've always had a 60 hertz refresh rate phone for the past year or two, you're not going to notice any difference. But once you go to a 90 hertz and then you go back down, you are going to notice the difference. And again, you know, I can't do any justice to it, but there's like really just like no lag here. It works fairly quick, and I'm pretty sure with the OnePlus 8 Pro with that 120 hertz refresh rate, it's just that much better. But a 90 hertz refresh rate is really good. And at this point, with manufacturers like OnePlus coming out with 90 hertz refresh rates as their base model at $699, the other manufacturers like the LGs, the Samsungs, they can't go back to 60 hertz at this point, because, you know, there's just too much competition and too many people at a cheaper price point just giving you the things that you really want to see in a phone. So far with call quality, I've had no issues with call quality. Let me get off airplane mode so I can show you guys. Let me get off Wi-Fi too, so I could just show you the 5G bar signal strength. Let me get, sorry, there's some messages coming through. All right, so right now I am in a basement. 5G connectivity is at about, I want to say halfway. I want to say about 3 bars right now, with some fluctuation, but that's consistent for my house and my general area down here on this lower level. When I go upstairs or to my second floor, you'll notice a consistent 4-bar connection. And as you saw with the LG phone, it was just like bouncing back and forth, like just for no reason whatsoever. You have a consistent 3 bars now in the basement, which for me is fine. I've never had a drop call. I've never had any issues with calls. Everything seems to work fairly well. Now, kind of let's just get to the conclusion. We are missing a few things from the Pro. You are missing wireless charging. You are missing the better camera setup. And you are missing the 128 hertz refresh rate. So you're missing a few really solid key features that would really just have this device be knocked out of the park. The only thing that really stands out for me that should have been included with this device is a better camera setup. I'm not sure why they just went with the older camera setup. I know it's probably cost cutting and savings to get it at this price point, a 5G phone at $699. But overall, I think they could have went with a better camera module. But again, I'm just gonna keep reiterating throughout this video, do I recommend this phone? Hell yeah, this phone is great. I'm using it as my daily driver, and I thought I would notice a substantial difference between the Samsung S20 Ultra and this device, and I'm really not. It's just working well. It does what it's supposed to do, and for the most part, with the exception of the camera, to be honest with you, I'm having issues with the S20 Ultra with this autofocus issue, where it's really making it a drag for me to even want to take photos with that. And that phone is $1,400. So we're talking about $699, a 4,300 milliamp battery. And that's one thing I did forget to touch base on. Easily, I get 1 day of battery life with this device with moderate, I don't want to say heavy use, but moderate use. I'll get 1 day. And with that 30 watt fast charger, that 30 watt T fast charger, I could be on like 5%, and you know, if I need a quick 30, 40, 50%, it'll literally be done in 20 to 25 minutes. It's amazing. So the 4300 milliamp battery is not an issue, and I think for a phone at this price point, a phone of this quality, I think it's fitting, and it does get you through a day at least. But again, just to get back to what I was saying, it just works well. Okay, so if you're thinking about, you know, trying to get a 5G phone and you're in the T-Mobile family, or if you're just thinking about getting a 5G phone and you're on a budget, for $699, a 5G phone, a 90 hertz refresh rate with dual stereo speakers, and the speakers are fairly loud. Let me get an audio clip. Give me 1 sec. All right, so we have some non-copyright music here. All right, let me flip it this way so I have the volume rockers here. All right, so something I was really impressed with the LG V60 was its stereo, its fullness. It was really loud, and I really liked it. Surprisingly to me, that this device is fairly loud as well. Not as loud as the V60, but it's no slouch in that department either. So let's try a sample out. This is not full volume, by the way. Okay, this is a bit of a medium volume. Okay, let's go full blast so you guys can hear. All right, so I don't know if the camera that I'm filming on is really doing any justice to the volume, but just take my advice. The volume is fairly loud. I was pleasantly surprised at the loudness of these stereo speakers, but compared to the LG V60, the V60 is louder and a little bit better, but by no means these speakers are fairly loud. So again, overall, just my overall conclusion and wrap up about this video is this device just works well when you need it to. It does everything that you need it to do without any stress. You don't have to go into crazy subfolders. A lot of Oxygen OS is based off of stock Android. You know what I mean? It's just like simple little things. You know what I mean? If you want to zoom out, you're able to zoom out. If you want to use the other cameras, you'll see an icon of 3 little trees and then 2 little trees and then 1 tree, just to show you the differences between the cameras, and just simple things. The phone just works well. It's 5G capable, 90 hertz refresh rate, decently loud stereo speakers, and it's $699. You know, yes, it does have a 1080p display, but with a 4300 milliamp battery and the 5G capability, you know, that works well with this device, with the 1080p. So you have very decent battery life. I do definitely recommend this phone if you're in the T-Mobile family, or if you're just looking for any phone that's 5G capable. This is the cheapest 5G phone you're gonna get in the United States right now, with a 90 hertz refresh rate and all the key features that this device comes with. All right, guys, that was my video. If you have any questions or any comments, leave it in the comment section below. I am gonna hold on to this as my secondary device. This is a great backup phone to have, or this is just a great phone to have overall. I'm really not suffering. Normally, I'll try out a phone and I'll really wanna go back to my S20 Ultra. And for this phone, I don't really care. I'm using it, no problem. It works well. It has 5G, it's fast, it has that refresh rate, and I'm good. I could basically use this phone as a daily driver and not miss a beat from my S20 Ultra. And that's sad, because that's a $1,400 phone compared to a $699 phone. And I'll leave you with this. I did have a phone to trade in, and T-Mobile did offer a promotion, 50% off this device, which was $350 off this device if you trade in a OnePlus 7 or a OnePlus 7 Pro. I did trade in my OnePlus 7 Pro because I did own it outright for this, So now realistically, I'm paying $350 to $400 for this phone, and at that price point, this is a huge steal. All right, folks, that was my video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.